Hello football fans and welcome back to Footy Today, where we bring you the latest football news from around the world. Today we have some interesting stories for you, from Ten Hag's assistant blasting the Manchester United players after leaving the club and blaming player power as the key problem at the club. Then the new Manchester United manager is already fed up with one of the superstars. We'll move on to a relegated threatened side, Wolverhampton Wolves, changing their captain to try and change things up. And lastly, we'll talk about Tottenham boss Ange Postecoglou lashing out at one of the Tottenham stars in an amazing rant. So let's get started. Rene Hake was instated as Manchester United's assistant manager only in July. However, ultimately he was sacked when Ten Hag lost his job. Rene was speaking in an interview and has given some amazing insight during his time at the club. Hake revealed that although some players were willing to experiment and take on board new ideas, others were far less receptive. For example, Rashford and Garnacho were quickly open on working on timing with their deep runs, Hake told Votable International. Hake continued to say, "Sometimes a player will say, at the moment, I'd rather not change anything about my game. That's okay, you have to accept that too. If players are not willing to adapt, you have to then adapt yourself." Rene Hake continued to speak and discuss the squad's footballing IQ, i.e. decision making, and that it wasn't very good. However, he urged the players to learn of more experienced people like Casemiro. Hake said, "It comes down to footballer intelligence, seeing solutions, the ability to learn, but it's also about the mental aspect of the game. You have to focus." We carried on telling the players that even if it takes 36 attempts, keep trying. With Casemiro, I sometimes thought he senses things when it really matters. He has like an antenna, he knows what's going on. So it seems from looking from the outside that player power is still a massive thing at Manchester United. So new United coach Ruben Amorim has been urged to get rid of one Manchester United star who can't be bothered and needs to be put out of his misery. Ex-United player Paul Parker thinks Marcus Rashford should already be done and dusted as he can't be bothered. Any other player, it would have been done and dusted by now. It's gone for far too long. Most other players would have been put out their misery, and one of the saddest things is to see a talent like Marcus Rashford just waste it and can't be bothered. He's now 27, he can't switch it on and off, he can't even be called a kid. He's a mature player, he needs to lead the team, but he just doesn't care. Then former Watford player Troy Deeney wrote an article in the Sun newspaper saying Marcus Rashford looks like he's carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. Everything is always everyone else's fault. He doesn't have any application. It just stinks. He knows he could live off these moments one at a time, and that isn't good enough. It's the same old cycle. A new manager comes in, then you'll see the new Rashford for 3-4 games, and then he'll slip back into his old habits. He then begins to get dropped. We saw it on Thursday night. He was subbed off. He just wasn't good, and it looks like the new coach, Ruben Amorim, is already fed up with him. I won't be surprised if he's sold. Moving on to our next story, we focus on Wolves and their bid to get out the relegation zone. Wolves manager Gary O'Neill has stripped Mario Lemina of the club captaincy after his post-match altercation with West Ham forward Jarrod Bowen and his own teammates. Lemina lost it when Bowen, at the end of Monday night's defeat that left Wolves in 19th position and O'Neill facing the sack, Lemina turned on Totti Gomez and Nelson Semedo before finally clashing with Wolves coach Sean Derry. After cooling down, Lemina took to Instagram to say, "I write this message with great hindsight, and I really want to apologise to all the people who love this club and who love football. I never wanted this to happen on the ground." That apology didn't wash with the Wolves manager Gary O'Neill. He confirmed on Friday that Lemina will no longer be the captain of the club. O'Neill then said Lemina will still be around the group of senior players that lead the team, however, I don't think he's the main man. I want to give the captaincy to Nelson Semedo, he'll be the new leader. O'Neill feels that changing the captaincy might shake things up at Wolves and get them out the relegation zone. He thinks a new captain, a new leader may boost the morale of the players. We feel that Lemina's time at the club may not be long now, as there's no coming back from this. His teammates may have forgiven him on the face of it, however we're not quite sure what's going on behind the scenes. We think Lemina will be looking for a move shortly. Moving on to our last story, Tottenham boss Ange Postecoglou has doubled down on his comments about the unacceptable performance of Timo Werner, saying, "I'm not going to go and worry about players and their bruised egos." The Tottenham manager ruffled feathers with his criticism of the German international's end product during the 1-1 draw with Rangers in the Europa League, pointing out after the match that the first half performance from Timo Werner was unacceptable and not good enough. He's playing within himself and not giving his all. Postecoglou then faced the media ahead of Sunday's clash with Southampton and once again said, "It wasn't criticism, it was an assessment. He's an international. He's won the Champions League. He's a senior player. There's a level of application you need to rise the team. Werner didn't reach that. It's just an assessment of his performance on a really challenging night for us, which we know what we were going into. He needs to be better. We're in here to fight. I'm not going to go worry about people's egos. We're here to win things." Some people are saying it is unfair to single out one player while the whole Tottenham team have been playing poorly in recent games. However, this is a tactic used by supercoach Jose Mourinho in the past with certain players, and it has worked. So let's wait and see how Timo Werner reacts to this criticism. And there we have it. There are stories for today. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button as it'll help our channel out greatly. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.